Hello, Jambo, Salam Alaikum, Namaste and Sriracha. Welcome to Ammijaan's kitchen, and today we're going to be making prawns. And talking about aprons, a different apron again. I love aprons, but only one per show, so I better be getting some more. Hint, hint, Emma. Okay, so today we're making prawns, and we call these just hot prawns, and they are hot because that is chili and this is chili. So it's not for the faint of heart here. But in all fairness, at the end of it, you can always substitute the chili for ketchup to sweeten it up a bit, okay? The difference that I do, and I like my prawns, I tried this a while back and I love them this way, is fillet them. I think we've talked about it before as well. So when you fillet them, they just curl up nicer. So you all know that prawns come closed like that, and here we are quite spoiled. They already pre-clean it for you, but I prefer to still cut and re-clean it because sometimes you can get a bit of grime right in there. And then what I do for filleting them is make the cut even deeper, but still have the tail attached. So when you fry them or cook them or whatever it is you do with them, they just come up a bit lighter. They're not so thick and mealy, and that's what we like in our family. So we're going to just quickly talk about the ingredients, and then I'm going to stop and wash my hands. Why we leave the red pepper long like this is in our family, Emma is not keen on red pepper, but we love the flavor and she doesn't mind the flavor, so she can always pick those off. So ingredients quickly, we have prawns, we have red pepper we talked about, lemon juice, chili, garlic. This is my right hand, you've heard me talk about this before, Sriracha, which is the Chinese garlic chili sauce. These are leeks, believe it or not, from my garden. They smell delicious. Cilantro, of course. Butter, I've got a quarter cup here. I might end up using more. And these are my crushed tomatoes from the garden that we also used, I think yesterday or something, for something else. But anyway, so those will be adding, and of course the butter by itself burns very easily, so we always add a little bit of olive oil to make it last longer while we're doing the fry up. So let's come back and we'll start cooking. Hello again, here we are. So we are at the stove. We just brought the ingredients over. The only thing we've left behind is cilantro and lemon juice because it's a little bit too early for them right now. So we've got the pan here. I try and get a nice wide pan. It's not after the depth you're after really, you just want them nicely spread out. So we're gonna dump that butter in there, and right away I just coat the butter with olive oil as best as you can. So then you're not gonna have that burning thing happening with the butter. But you do want butter in this, that gives it that nice buttery taste, okay? And I make these, I initially bought them from Costco, but now what I do is like this year I just added nice dried red chilies. And the trick is never let the vegetable or whatever it is you have in there be exposed to the air without oil. So right away, like I'll go ahead and top this up with olive oil, and I love them. Not only are they practical to grab, and they give that little bit of flavor. So here we are just going to melt this butter nicely. Now prawns, as a rule, if I'm sure you all cook them at home, you don't want them overcooked. They become rather chewy. So here, the entire process is going to be the sauce, and then at the very end, I like to throw the prawns. Or, since I do like the prawns to get that butter flavor, ideally I would have had another saucepan. But what we'll do with you is just do a little trick thing where we'll cook the prawns, just let them coat in the butter and the garlic, then take them out, make the sauce, and then at the end just drop the prawns back in there. So then when you're ready to eat them, you just want to bring them to a quick heat and enjoy them, not keep it warming up for like 10, 12, 15 minutes. And I think in our experience, I would say they cook in less than 4 minutes maybe. Okay, so we'll do a little bit. I'm going to just increase the heat up in here a little bit. I'm going to actually place the prawns. I'll put the heat right high up now because I don't want them to take too long. Remember, that was the whole point. I've got a couple of bags here. You can do a quarter of that, a half of that. You can double that. It all depends on your family and how or what you're going to do with it. Naan goes very nicely with it. Rice goes even nicer, and sometimes just good old French bread is very nice with it. So there we are. Okay, and we're going to put that garlic in because you want that nice flavor. But you know, prawns, again, seafood, you don't want a lot of garlic. So just that little bit of garlic. Let's cook it up a bit. And now just a quick toss. You can see already they're starting to turn pink because we've got the heat quite high. So now you can already visualize that taste. You've got that beautiful buttery prawn taste happening. If you had left the prawns to come at the end on the sauce, then you don't really get this nice buttery coating on it, right? So this is the difference here. Or you could have done where you could have added them in a different pan. That's what I typically do. Like Emma and I do it where we tag team about cooking. So I would make the sauce in the morning, leave the prawns in the fridge, and then she would come and just saute the prawns in the butter and throw them in the sauce. So something like that. Before you leave, you can kind of prep it. You know, we all have to work, and we try and work around it. See how that beautiful pink color? Now to me, even though some of it is still black, not quite pink, I would almost stop right here. Because remember, they will still go in a sauce, and I don't want to overcook them. As soon as they curl and turn that gorgeous pink color, stop cooking, especially if you're going to be putting them in a sauce. The prawns off. Same story again, olive oil. This time, half the butter that was there because that's a little bit too much butter. There's the prawns, ready to go in when we are ready to finish. All the butter is still at the bottom. So now remember, that's all sauce, right? So here we are. Red peppers go in. Those beautiful little, I don't think I want to put all the garlic, a little bit too garlicky. A couple of those chilies, leeks from the garden. Oh, yummy. You can just picture how nice that smells already. So there. So just give it a good old coat. Everything coats nicely. It's on medium high-ish right now. We just want to make sure, excuse me, that everything mixes in. There. Okay, and now let's leave this for a couple of minutes. You want that leek to soften up. And if you have a family that everybody loves red peppers, chop it up into the same size as the leeks. And you could even throw in a cubed zucchini. It does get a bit mushy, so, you know, it's all in the textures of what you want to feel when you're eating. So we're going to leave this for a couple of minutes and come back. Here we are. Now you can kind of see what I was saying about the prawns. Imagine the prawns sitting in here and cooking this whole time. They would have already become overcooked. And then you add the sauce, then they become soggy, and then they're not as good as they will be this way. So now the leeks are becoming all soft. We have the peppers, which are becoming all nice and soft. And always remember salt. Sometimes I almost forgot this time, so here I went and grabbed some. And tasting is another way to decide what you want. That seems like a lot of sriracha. But like I said, that's 2 packets of prawns. So that seems like a lot of sriracha, but feel free and adjust. If the sriracha is too much for you, add a little bit of ketchup. Some people like that sweet and sour taste. It's not my thing in this thing, but you could add a bit of plum sauce. And the chili, so you kind of get that typical Chinese plum and salty taste. You know, the sweet and salty, I mean. Okay, so at this point, what I would do right away is turn it down a bit, get right down, mix it all up, and then just take a little taste. Nice, salty, hot, and you can just lightly taste the leek. Very nice. So now I'm going to just turn it right down. You can see the sauce has come right up. Garlic is just right. With prawns and shrimps and crab, you don't want to overdo the garlic. That takes away from them. So at this stage, this is done. The next thing now we're going to do is add the tomato. That needs to cook. Because I'm using fresh tomatoes from the garden, it'll take a little bit longer to cook. So all the more reason to take the prawns out and not have them in there. But if you were using prawns that, pardon me, if you were using tomato that came out of a can, the timing here would be less because those are already mixed up and processed. But these, as you know, fresh tomatoes will give out water. So this is going to give out quite a bit of water. So I'm going to actually bring that heat back up now. You can see the amalgamation is really nice. Now you want the tomatoes to cook in, because honestly with Emma and I, it's more the sauce than the prawns. With the guys, it's the prawns. But you can give me one prawn and a dish full of sauce and I'm happy. And so is Emma. So there, you can see that. Isn't it looking lovely? So let's mix all this up. You can see the ratio. You know, the ratio is what you have. I can just visualize this in a spoonful. You get a couple of prawns and a good amount of sauce. So I'm going to throw in another couple of tablespoons. But I'll give you an idea in the recipe of how much you would use per packet, and then that way you can multiply or divide depending on how much you use. And these are my fresh garden tomatoes that I'm really enjoying the use of. I guess I have a whole bunch of packets frozen in the freezer, and they will be lovely to use in the winter as well. So now we've got all the tomato in there. Like I said again, if I'm repeating myself, because it's fresh tomatoes, I'm going to let it cook for a little bit. Say you are not using fresh tomatoes, you are using a can, it's ready at this point. But I want a little bit of the water to evaporate from the tomatoes. Then I would put the prawns in there, cilantro, and of course, fresh lemon juice. That just makes it anything seafoody, right? So I'm going to leave this here. We'll come back in a few minutes and finish the whole process of our spicy prawns. Okay, here we are. I did add a teaspoon of paste, but bring it in and see how you want it. This is what you're after. Nice, thick, yummy, and pulpy looking, okay? So if you are using crushed tomatoes, you don't have to do what I did. Fresh tomatoes obviously have a lot of water. And there goes the clock again. My tomatoes from the garden were so tiny, so imagine blending all those little tomatoes. But anyway, so that's that. Now here come the prawns, and you can see all that lovely butter that we had is there too. That's going to add to the sauce, which is okay, which is what you want. Splash. Okay, so there. Then mix up that butter so you can just visualize this taste, right? It's lovely. And right now I would literally turn it off because I'm not interested in cooking anything anymore. I'm going to take this out of the way so you can get a better view. No more cooking until you are ready to reheat and eat, because I don't want the prawns to cook anymore. I just want them to get coated with the sauce. They're already cooked, so they're safe. It's not like you're going to get sick with them. There, and now, at this stage, it's still not too late. Have a little taste, decide if everything is okay. You could still add a little bit of chili or salt difference. Lemon juice, freshly squeezed. And then last, which is always so nice in any Indian food, is cilantro. So we're going to put that in there. Okay, and now with this, when you serve it, obviously you can see what I meant about the sauce. French bread is lovely. We're going to have it with rice today. Naan bread is lovely too. But there we go. So that was your spicy prawns. Please try it at home. I hope you like it. And remember, you can always adjust the salt, adjust the chili, put a little bit of sweetness in there if you want sweet. And come back again and visit us at Ammijaan's Kitchen. And remember to like and subscribe. Have a good day.